Welcome to New Realities. I'm Alan Steinfeld, and this is another edition of the ET Roundtable. But what makes this edition different is that we have some real ETs here. So let me introduce today's guests. We have Ra. Ra, is that the whole?
Yeah, Arcturus Ra.
Come forward and move that mic out of the way.
Yeah.
Arcturus Ra, which we'll find out more about. And we have the lovely Sarah Adams from Some Dimension and Planet. And we have my new friend, Sarah Strong, who's just arrived here, maybe on the planet. No.
Definitely been here.
But these people are all have access to these higher levels, higher dimensions, higher realities. So, Ra, why don't you start and just talk about your background and where you emanate from?
So I'm emanating from Arcturian recall ship, and I checked a psychic, my good friend Lincoln, which is like a very supreme psychic. He confirmed that what many other psychics confirmed, that I have an ET. And this is the new thing. When you hear us, you will hear this is coming into the revelation that some of us in human form know their galactic heritage. Mm-hmm. We know where we're from. We know what the mission protocol is. Some of us woke up earlier, some are walking, some are crawling, some are born in that way. There are different levels. So I know when my awakening protocol has been running all my life. But it initially around 31, when my life kind of crashed, and usually that happens to us in life, you crash to be awakened to you're going, that's the wrong exit, stay on the ascension highway, basically. So I was informed that I'm Arcturian, that I am 9-10 foot tall. I have like elvish ears, opalescent blue skin, elongated head, different brain capacities. Like Arcturians have a multidimensional brain in the back. So they
when you're Arcturian, that is. When you're human,
when I'm Arcturian.
You're human, you have aspects of that, though.
Yeah, I have aspects of that. So I'm on a ship, basically projecting myself from that ship, from a future timeline into the past, into the entire process of, you can say, dysfunctional Earth rehab center,
right.
To having to learn all of this, because in the past, ETs were in their original form, but it was disruptive. We got killed, we were attacked. They said they were demons, evil jinns and whatnot. Today, even books talk about the evil jinns, but these were all beings from other realms coming here to assist, and it wasn't so that you had to be born here.
Right.
This was changed. It's really the result of that.
Right.
I'm aware that I'm a hybrid. I think you are a hybrid from up there. I don't know how much you in the hybridization program, or how aware you are.
I'm a hybrid.
Yeah.
From your half genetics are ET, half human. The genetic actually makeup.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm definitely.
I know I have 37 hybrid children, and I met them.
Congratulations.
And that was before.
That's a lot.
And many of us have. And I'm
You met each of the 37?
I met all of them. I was an emotional wreck when I came out from the ship back into my body, because they're all like Dada, and I'm like, wow, they integrate. That was before Bashar even announced that there are hybrid children. I met them. That was in Berlin. So realizing these are not dreams. This is all information that has to do with aspects of where you're coming from. And now find a way to find an application in your life. How do I use that?
Has it been hard to adjust to Earth life?
Always.
Yeah.
I relate to that.
All right, we'll come back to your story. I know Sarah for years, and when I first met you, you were going through such a hard time, and now you're shining. And what was your revelation about your ET connections?
So before I came into this body, I incarnated in various ET bodies on various planets. But above that, I remember being a force of energy, a cosmic, multi-dimensional energy, God source. And then I would go and incarnate to have these different experiences, whether it was in an ET body, whether it was in a physical body. So I'm aware that I am an ET, and that's definitely one of my forms, but above that, I am God source energy.
Right.
So I had that awareness some years ago and realized that even above being an ET, I'm that energy field.
But you help people integrate their ET kind of energies here, right? Can you talk about that?
And I do. So I help people to, bring in their Arcturian lifetimes, their Pleiadian lifetimes, their even gray ET lifetimes, aquatic being lifetimes, because a lot of people have had these different lifetimes, and there's a lot of abilities and knowledge, and even what I call light codes. And we go back and we go ahead and we channel them into this lifetime. So suddenly, they access their psychic abilities from in those past lifetimes, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I also work with hybrid children. So when I came into this body, I was taken up in the ships multiple times.
You remember that clearly.
Yes. And it was, I preferred actually being up in the ships than being among humanity, specifically when I was young.
I don't blame you.
Preferred that. And that's where I found out, they have all this different technology. They would use light energy to channel light energy into me if it was too hard for me. And then of course, that's where I was coming back throughout the years to help out with the hybrid children, because I would gather information down here and go to the ships, into the nurseries and connect to them energetically and download the information, like on what foods they should, like different stuff, just random
you were like an
things.
ET child coach or something.
Yes. And then they said, okay, so they said the reason that they were put in ET DNA in humans was to elevate the consciousness on the planet, because that's like a gift of light. It's completely the DNA, that strands that they're putting into the children is to reconnect them up to God's source and to reconnect them up to higher energy. So they're giving that as a gift. And they were telling me that the hybrid children were struggling because they can feel the emotions of others. They can feel the ocean is polluted. They can feel all this stuff on the planet. And so it's hard for them being in a body. So they would take them up into the ships and give them the love and nurture and the energy that they needed. And they're also taking human children that haven't been upgraded with DNA into ships, because they were telling me that they're not getting the love that they need from their parents. They're not getting that vital heart energy from their parents. So they were saying that without that, a planet actually devolves. So by bringing them up, giving that to them, they're filling them with that energy, which is going to help the planet be okay.
You're increasing their conscious field. Yeah, great. So Sarah Strong, welcome to Sedona and to New Realities. So you have a unique story where you just kind of came into this awareness. Can you tell the story a little bit, who you were before and who you are now?
Yeah, sure. I came into body as basically awakened starseed in a sense. So there was parts of me that definitely didn't remember who I was, but that I had visions at fetus level, at actualized, like when my soul went into my body, I saw this whole timeline. I saw the whole timeline of this timeline. I saw events happening, not every single detail, obviously that's way too much information to give a child, but I saw the whole timeline kind of carry out in birth form, basically. And I was born with, I bought the gifts. I've been Pleiadian, many lifetimes, Pleiadian, all the others. They call me a galactic mutt because I've had so many lifetimes embodied in other life forms. And I was psychic, telepathic, empathic, and a channel as a child. And it was just weird. It was very weird. It was very difficult to integrate into any situation. And as I grew up, I was just, it was just really difficult to live in the world. I wasn't of the world, and I would be I remember being a kid and just laying in the stars and being like, I don't really like my mom. I don't relate to my family. I don't relate to my brother. And I would just look at the stars and I'd see the stars and be like, I just want to be there. So I knew in hindsight, like I didn't know at the time, but growing to this point in my life when I am fully actualized, know what my mission on earth is to bring joy and light to as many souls who desire it at this moment.
Did you suppress it for a long time, or was it always?
I couldn't suppress anything. I always felt everything. I felt emotions of all the people around me. I was always feeling all of those things. So my knowledge of I was awakened to the Pleiadian energy when I was about 20. I was 20. I was doing a lot of psychedelics at the time, and I connected to a friend of mine. She had a book, and I just read a book. They told me that I'm a big channel between here and the other world, the other side. And I learned that I was a gateway, that I'm a gateway to the stars.
So I'll ask everybody this, but what is your mission now? What do you feel like you are here, your specialty, help with the planet's evolution?
So my main mission is to make sure everyone's having fun.
Okay, I like that.
To bring as much joy in as many different channels as possible through, I'm a coach, so I do it through intuitive life coaching, helping people have spiritual alignment. And then once you have spiritual alignment, joy flows in your life. And I am an ascension guide. I have a book.
You have a book.
It's about ascension. It's mantras based on ascension.
Ascension means what to you?
So it's raising your vibration to a certain level that you can see through the fabric and the matrix to understand that it's a lie, and that your consciousness can basically disattach. That's not a word, but spirit makes that word sometimes. It disattaches from the matrix energy, and you can see and know all things in a single moment. And then you're enlightened, and you can understand that you're here to play a game and play a role, and that role is way bigger than you, and way bigger than your family, way bigger than any thought that you ever had prior to that moment in time. And then you are ascending. And that's like a conscious ascension moment. So they call that a spiritual awakening. They call that a moment of enlightenment. They call that a lot of different things. And then literally from that moment, every single cell in your body can vibrate at a higher vibration and continue vibrating. The ascension process is a very long time. It can take like up to 10 to 20 years. We're in this for the long haul. Don't be frightened. It's going to be great.
We're in the process of that vibrationally,
exactly.
And places like Sedona, where we are, actually accelerate that. So tell us about your ascension process, because you're here for others, but you're also here to raise your own frequency.
Right. So for me, it's always, sometimes I've traveled to different planets just to have that experience and to learn more knowledge. And when I remembered back 2 billion years of living on different planets, having different bodies, different experiences. And for me, an incarnation is a beautiful experience, and it's just to gather more knowledge too. And I was sent here to this planet with a mission, and my mission was to help to reconnect humanity to the ETs, to the many multi-dimensions, and to their souls. So this is something that I take very passionately. And the world is the way it is because people are so disconnected. And since they're disconnected from the soul, the spirit within them, they're disconnected from the realms of spirits. And the realms of spirits are also where the ETs travel and live at. So when we reconnect with our soul, our spirit, then we can reconnect with the ETs and the many dimensions that exist. So that was my my life mission on this planet, was to come here and be a portal and a channel for that information, to get that out there and help humanity reconnect. Right now, the planet is depleted in energy, and that's why we have sick people. That's why we have depressed people. That's why we have corrupt leaders. This is why we have pollution. We have a lot of negativity. Once people reconnect to their soul, they can channel that energy through them to heal the oceans, to heal the skies, to heal each other, and bring the frequency of the planet up like it was in ancient times. Because the frequency of this planet used to be much higher. There were no deserts, there were no disease. People lived for hundreds, if not thousands of years, because you live longer and regenerate when there's energy flowing through you. The more you're disconnected from your soul, the more you're going to be sick, the more you're going to be depressed, and the more you're going to age. And this is the problem we have right now. So that there needs to be a reconnect. And I was requested to go to this planet and did so.
Thank you. That is I love that. We'll get a jumping in from the peanut gallery in a second, but
Peanut gallery.
No, my friends, they're my friends. Okay. But so you're all here. All of us are here for a purpose, including everybody there. What do you feel your specific purpose is here? Like, how are you adding to what these
I think
people have said?
that we know each other from past lives.
Mhm.
And now it's an extreme crescendo of synchronicity where we all put together to do it again
Yeah.
in harmony and with the joy and fun. And for me, I found a book by Alice Bailey, who studied under Madame Blavatsky. It's like I'm part of the conduits. I'm the revealer of the seventh ray, which is the blue energy realm. I'm blue. Lots of us are blue.
I feel blue in a
yeah.
good way.
Yeah,
In a
yeah.
good way.
And so what I do
Wearing
is
blue.
basically,
Yes.
I'm a conduit for divine technology that I channel back for my future scientific
Oh
self to
yeah,
hear.
show us your technology
I
because
have-
I put on one of his technology things. I took it
So
off. but-
I make these bio resonators.
And what does it do?
Basically, it brings you back with the resonance to your oversoul.
Mm.
Like there's a basically what everybody's trying to do in spirit is you have your higher self or oversoul, and we are out of alignment with that. What's the purpose? Who am I? For memory, cosmic recall. We are born in cryptic amnesia, meaning it's again in metaphorical forgetfulness in a very dense realm. And I'm helping to reestablish that you know who you've been in connection with. Like I know I have Rigelian in me, I have Essassani in me, which is also an offspring of the Gray.
Right,
I have Antarian,
right.
Lyran.
But does that mean any? Those are, I mean, they're great names. But
Yeah, so basically,
talk about the specific.
the specifics is like when you get into alignment, you can make those things. And that anybody can do that.
So that's a technology
That's
off planet.
Yeah, that's an off-planet technology that's non-gender based. This is a singular technology.
And what exactly is it? It's a brass.
This is a brass containment, and it has inside nano quartz
Okay.
particles.
Okay.
Can you hold it to the camera eventually so we can
Yeah.
see?
Thanks,
Thanks.
Steve. for asking.
Appreciate it.
So basically what that produces is a very high emanation of light. If you have a biophotonic emission camera, you would see a blue aura coming from that field. And what that does is basically you travel through airports and go through life in big cities, you get very derailed. Your mercabic fields get offset all the time.
Right.
They're being bombarded all the time. So this is to remind the body to stay in its own alignment without you having to meditate all day, all the time with everything. So it's a bioresonator. And I do much more. I've built a holographic medbed.
Yeah.
And I think in the world, I don't say this lightly, I'm the first one that built a medbed in physical form that doesn't run on electricity. While everybody was talking, I thought, let's put this technology to a higher aspect. And I'm bringing that back also from, that's the interesting part, Maldekian memory.
From Maldek.
Yeah, before Maldek was blown up, I was a scientist doing the same job, and I somehow tried to save a piece or particle of my soul, but it got trapped before that thing blew up. And a psychic that was into angels channeled that for me, was completely baffled, but also amused because it expanded her. And she said, I found you on Maldek built millions of years ago and you were stuck, and she freed me. And interestingly, and these are the things that we can do when I do this, when I coach, freed that aspect, and I got smarter. I knew what to look at after that.
I think we're all getting smarter as these frequencies come in. We just want to take a question. What's that question?
There's a question, Teeny4 on YouTube. Ask ET contact test. Question, what method of healing do ETs practice that also can be applied to Earth humans in one word? So the one word that I have for that is Reiki. Am I allowed to say any more?
Yeah, of course. No, say as much as you want. No, don't limit it.
So,
more than
energy healing is a gift, obviously, that starseeds bring to the planet of its high vibrational energy that flows through our bodies. I connect to the other realms, to the sacred dimensions of light. I channel the sacred dimensions of light through my hands, and it comes through and it can heal. It's called bioenergetic healing. Easily explained in Reiki. A lot more people know about Reiki, and what that can do. I can do it remotely, so people don't need to be in the same room. I can just put my hands. I actually don't even need to do that. I just like to do that for my own practice. And meditations can come through, channels come through, clearance comes through, and your body can be healed and restored to its most optimum homeostasis just through energy. This is a blockage that the human mind finds hard to get over. Energy can heal anything. You don't need tablets, you don't need anything, vitamins, nothing at all. If you believe that the energy can heal your cells at a cellular level, it will heal you at a cellular level. It's just your mind that gets in the way, that's all.
That is great. Yes, that's absolutely. And Sarah, what about you? Because you work with a lot of people and fine-tuning their bodies, right?
I do. So I like to go ahead and do a spiritual rebirth. So we go in each organ, we go in each cell, we go into the bones, we go into the aura, the entire energetic field, the entire body. We delete all of the ancestral karma, all the dense energies, all the toxins, all the emotions, all of the memories from past lifetimes that are dense. And then we come in and we rebuild the light body. And this is something that I do with a lot of my clients. This is very, very effective. So that's one of the ways. I also really like working with ET. So I simply open a Stargate.
Wait, simply open a Stargate.
He's like, hold up.
Hello. How do you do that?
So I have thousands of testimonials on my website about this, and people experiencing either seeing the ETs, feeling the energy of the ETs, speaking to them telepathically. So I open a Stargate. It's kind of a secret. I'm not going to explain that right now. And an ET comes through.
Okay.
Then the ET positions themselves
Do they
near the
physically come through?
Yes.
Like you actually see them?
Some people can see them, some people can sense them, depending on how high their frequency is.
So you bring the ET through, and then what do we do with
So
it?
then I hold the space open, the Stargate open. The ET goes through each of their organs, through their whole entire body, and it completely clears their energy.
Oh, so the ET assists in the healing.
Yes, it actually helps them to heal, and they feel elated. They feel like this almost electrical energy coming through their body. So then the ET does the entire amount of work. When we're done, he goes back through the Stargate and I close it. The third way I do is I actually bring them up into the UFO to go ahead and be worked on, into spaceships to be worked on. And that's something that they also feel and have visions of or experience.
I know we're going to get David and Steve and Henrietta in on the conversation in a second, but there was a question here about med beds, right? What was that question? Med beds, where was that one? Oh, I was shown the med bed and shown frequency pressure points and sound frequencies into thoughts. So creating energy med bed. So what about, how do you actually create?
So my med bed is what I channeled in is a new technology and a new science that will be found. First of all, that my Arcturian council tells me that a photon is not a massless particle, as this consensus claims. It is actually having mass. In order to experience dimensions, you need physical. It takes the physical to create the physical. So there's no such thing as a metaphysical object that can get in contact with a physical object.
Wait, there's no such thing as energetic?
As in not physically existing.
Well, it has to, maybe it doesn't have to be what in this energetically it can exist.
Saying massless particles like saying jumbo shrimp. It's an oxymoron.
Okay.
Or military intelligence.
So there are no massless.
that doesn't work.
There are no massless particles.
Yeah. Every particle has mass to it.
Okay.
That
makes sense.
They all have frequency.
Okay.
If you will, nothing is really physical. Everything is a frequency and a moment in time for you to experience.
So that's a contradiction. So nothing's physical, yet it has mass.
It has mass, but mass doesn't mean
is physical.
It doesn't mean
it's energetic.
It's energetic mass. Mass is more. See the word mass as in frequency.
Right. So this is how
mass is frequency.
That's interesting.
Right.
Go ahead,
so anything that a solid object, that a condensed object is actually just condensed energy. That's what I understand.
Yeah.
So energy is mass, an Einsteinian equation. Energy equals mass times speed of light.
So there's nothing
squared.
massless. That's impossible.
It's because there's nothing that's not energy.
Yeah.
So you might as well say nothing is energyless.
Yeah. Nothing is energyless. Yeah.
We're making up words on the
I'd rather say that.
So basically what this says is that we have levels of density that our consciousness explores, and the universe is consciousness. Everything is consciousness, from the ships to the energy, the Reiki, the ETs, everything that we experience are levels of our filter or permission slips, as Bashar would say.
Right.
What can we allow? How do we accept healing? And to make this real quick, the healing, in a sense, is for you to look at your higher self, like the doppelganger in Egypt or the Ka. What do you really truly look like in your true essence as in God's source? And when you are ready to meet you, you heal.
Oh, that's
Everything else
another
is in
level of
between.
healing
Yeah,
then.
everything else is what we do other
Reiki
modalities.
energy,
Yeah.
ET frequencies, or
Hologram.
you meeting yourself.
Meeting yourself.
They're all aspects of healing. Okay, I'm going to bring the New York crowd. This is like East meets West. This is my
New York.
East Coast crowd. Well, Henrietta's
Can
in
I
Mexico.
get a cup of coffee?
Well, Dave, Steve, Henrietta, this is my ongoing crew. Sometimes we get a visit by Roderick, but anything, Dave, you've been following this ET energetic stuff. Any comments from what you've heard here?
Yeah, I'm curious. So as you had your awakenings, how does that translate over time? Like, I know you all kind of went into it, but the specificity of it, right? Like, how does the very specific, like Pleiadian, Lyran, like, is that through sort of engaging with others and having conversations? Is it through receiving that information? Is it through like synchronistically finding books and that kind of stuff? Like, how does that develop, right? Like, how does the identity develop?
Okay, so for me, I started to be able to hear my guidance very, very clearly. And this was maybe 4 years ago. And they guided me to buy a book that connected me with all the Ascended Master energy. So I started working with the Ascended Master energy, not really recognizing my connection. I channel all the star beings, like literally any of them of the light that would like to come through. I invite them at any moment, especially like events like this. So I started working with the Ascended Master energy, and they knew that would raise my vibration enough for me to ready me. And that was a slow process. I read that book for probably 4 years before I then had a session with a life coach, an intuitive life coach. She channeled for me, and she channeled all of my lifetimes that I ever lived, came back into my body in one session. And I remembered then she listed all of these different starseed energies that I remembered being in that moment. And that was my full awakening. It was a year ago, June last year.
And has it shifted since in this last year?
So yes, absolutely. So, I mean, it's just like, I get used to it, like I'm used to feeling that energy flow through me. And then I hold space for other people to have self-realization, to realize that they are gifted when they feel like they weren't. Some people come in and they're so uncomfortable in the human body until they realize that they have all these connections to the stars, and life becomes a lot easier to live once that information can integrate and you can actualize.
So it's the process of more and more integration, more and more of like grounding into the divine embodiment.
I definitely feel that's definitely happened for me. The more even as I hold space for people and they ask certain questions or I'm interviewed, I sometimes don't know the information until someone asks me, because I'm not asking the questions all the time. So the channel will come through and I'll be like, wow, that's awesome. So that information can come through way easier. And it's just an open channel as spirit. So spirit can just speak through me. I don't have, I kind of, Sarah leaves the building, spirit comes through. And
Sarah's out of there.
Sarah's not really here. You're looking at her, but the information coming through is of spirit. So yeah.
Beautiful. No,
you can ask anything. If anyone has any questions, like write them in the
write them in the chat, or just
literally
say
anything
them
you might want to know about the world, about energy, about literally anything. We can answer.
I'll go.
Oh, wait 1 second. Steve.
I want to channel, Alan.
Hey, Steve, 1 second.
So basically when I do YouTube videos, and I'm half German, so my German friends are like, how do you script that talking for 1 hour? I mean, I trimmed it down. I said, I don't script that. I don't write anything. I like, spirit says, let's go. I'm going out on a hike, and then boom, and I'm all of a sudden in this flow. I'm not really here, and it's just coming. And I'm learning now to remember what I said that's teaching me, and then I'm in the flow. That's also when I do speaking engagements. I do, people have these PowerPoint presentations, but sometimes I'm like, I turn the thing off and I just go, and it's the best.
You just come out with it. Wait, one more second, Steve. Hold it 1 second. Hi, Henrietta. So Sarah Adams here. You had a drastic awakening when I first met you. You were so all over the place. Yeah.
I was like this since a child. I was definitely strange and different since a child. I came into my body knowing what I was going to do. Then I had an experience where I left my body, even though it was alive for a while, and then came back to it. And that's when he met me, when I was going through that experience. What happens with me is I have a lot of books, because obviously I like books in this human 3D life. I haven't read any of them. What happens is I am in this frequency where I call it the knowing. I'm in God consciousness. When I'm in this God consciousness, I get goosebumps. I have what I call the spiritual eye, or the third eye lit up. I can see ETs. I can see people's auras. I can see the spirits. I can see the ocean as an ancient spirit. So, and all that knowledge in that God consciousness is flowing through me, flowing through my physical mind, brain, and being translated. So that's that's how I tap in. I call it just going into God consciousness.
Great. Okay, Steve, you're on. What's happening?
I'll let Henrietta go if Henrietta has things.
Henrietta, though, please comment, because we've been in this dialogue for a couple of weeks.
Okay.
And people analyzed it.
So a couple things. I took some notes, but I just want to start with
Steve, wait. I'm just speaking. So I'm just asking Henrietta, do you have a comment about, these are experiencers versus the people that's saying hypothesizing realities? They are living the reality.
Yeah, no, that's what I was finding really interesting, is just like, it was so specifically personal. None of you have referred to any books or really. No, but that's not a criticism. It's interesting to me that, this is what you've experienced, and kind of a similar question to David. I was just really curious as to how it all, how do you, when you're talking so, that you're very sure of these, you seem very sure of these very specific things. I'm curious as to how because because personally with my inexplicable experiences, or something similar to Sarah's experience with her psychedelic information, I've had that. I'm much more of a doubter, I mean, I'm sort of interested that all three of you are very clear about what you're doing, and where you belong and where you've come from, and
that's
what you
other
people.
I was going to ask that myself, but I'm
just awfully like an English kind. I'm not cynical, but I find it hard to sort of put language to these experiences. I suppose.
Henrietta, that is like, I relate so much, like you don't even understand. I'm a scientist. I love proof. So I've always asked for proof. I've always like journeyed and gone, okay, I don't read something once and believe it. I'm like, okay, I need to verify this information. So even me as a psychic, I'm psychic. I know stuff that no one else knows. I can read rocks. I can read energy of anything and anyone. And I'd be like, yeah, nah, it can't be real. And like I can feel it in my heart of hearts. Like I've lived most of my life kind of like doubting like that. And then
so you have, right. And it's only recently that you've really
feel really embodied with the energy, because
and clear.
I could so this is an example of one particular situation. So I have been looking at the stars since I was a little kid. I've always loved the stars, and so I definitely can recognize when I'm seeing a spacecraft and when I'm seeing an aeroplane. So recently in Miami, I was looking at the sky and I saw clearly it was a spacecraft. There was no blinking lights. It was absolutely a spacecraft, and I'm like, prove it. And so I asked them, I said, please, if you are who I think you are, move your ship closer to me. They moved the ship closer to me, and I just had a dialogue, and then I started to communicate with them telepathically and just telling them I'm grateful that they're there, and that I'm a servant of the energy. So if there's anything that they wanted me to do, please like download it to me. So like I absolutely love proof. And what happened with that is I kept asking more and more proof of who I am, what I'm doing. And I seek it out. Like I seek knowledge out through channels that I trust. So I believe that the universe brought me. I have an intuitive coach. I'm also an intuitive coach, and I've been coaching with her for more than a year now. And I will always have her in my life because that's the proof. She is a voice, a human voice of all of the energy of all of my guides, anyone who wants to come and tell me messages. She's a literal human who just tells me stuff that they're telling me. So that's the proof that I get. Every 2 weeks, I have a session with her. So I know exactly what
we need that validation because otherwise,
that the trick is basically to find confirmation. See what's, I don't know how it was in your upbringing. It was very hard for me as a child in kindergarten to talk to kids. I have Esasani walking next to me. They can't see them. I have no confirmation and no reference that anybody can see that but me. So you feel completely, as I would say, multi-phrenic. You're way out there.
Right.
Yeah. And I had to learn and train myself, teaching myself without a guide, without a book. How do you get confirmation that your intuition is on the money?
Right.
And the more you find those synchronicities and you learn to read them, the stronger you get. And then you'll see them, and then you get confirmations. I mean, I flew to Sedona 10 years ago, no money, no insurance, no idea where I would land. This is called past the leap of faith, that you go into situations and you trust that you'll be taken care of. You go into a place of assignment, and everything that the council energetically predicted. We got to be careful with predictions because probable timelines are shifty all the time, but everything happened, came into play. I was taken care of. Business good. I had to go through some, sticks and stones and move debris away. But the way the proximity was kind of like made clear, this is your path. And more you get your confirmation, and you train yourself like a Jedi with moves.
Right.
That's why I also do readings to really see, on the money. And then you begin to hit it, naturally hit it. And that makes you so sure and clear for you, besides any external, I know this or I know that.
So for you to, go ahead.
I just thought Henrietta just wanted to ask something.
Wait, we just want to get Sarah Adams.
She's a psychic.
Wait, just Sarah, do you have any way that you confirm your knowledge, or you just know what you know? It's like we know we're sitting here. It's like a knowing. It's like, is that more what happens to you? And then we'll get there.
I am way more from another world than this world. So for me, observing people, I can see that their doubt and their distrust, or often their lack of faith, is simply because their souls are farther from themselves. And more the soul is embodied within yourself, you start to trust your soul, your spirit, which is God's source, and then you tap into everything. So, and we only, we aren't here to, in my case, we aren't here to care much about what humanity, their belief systems or anything. We're here to remind them of who they truly were eons ago before they fell away from that. So using your intuition, using, the synchronicities and stuff will guide you so much that we get so strong until one day you wake up and you see a spirit in your room and you are able to see the spirit realms and the other realms, as long as you keep going down that path, because that's something that humanity has been so disconnected. So they lost their ability. Just like if you go work out and you build up all these muscles, you're going to lose that when you don't work out. And when you stop working out, the same thing with their abilities and their ability to access the realms of spirits and the supernatural realms. They've lost that because they have not exercised it or used it. So the more you go in and use that, the more that you're going to get to the point where you're like me. I sit up in the morning, there's the ETs, there's different beings. I see them like I see people around me. I interact with them, and that's where humanity's headed, is for that reconnect.
I agree.
We all have memory. Pluto and what's the name? Pluto?
Yeah, the planet Pluto.
No, I meant the The guy who wrote about Atlantis.
Mm,
Plato.
Plato.
Pluto.
Plato.
Dyslexic is
Close. Close.
Plato.
You're thinking
Close.
about Pluto, huh?
Plato and Hermes said that we have cellular memory.
Yes.
we do.
So when you go down that path, your memory is waiting for you.
I know, that's right.
You will know.
Wait, okay, any final words in this round here, Henry, before we get to Steve? What were you going to say, Henrietta?
Well, I'm just, listening and really fascinated. And I mean, the thing that you're all three saying is very strongly is this kind of, essence of who we are, which is completely, Sarah said very specifically that when you work with people, you look beyond all the mechanics of the structure and at the essence, but you all seem, that's what you're talking about. And that's kind of all that you're doing in a way, right? I mean, that's your mission. I mean, it interests me because I think about these things a lot, but I still feel I couldn't probably go as far as you that way.
You could eventually.
It's a choice, Henrietta. It's a choice.
No,
You're
but I mean,
Henrietta.
Can I say something on this? So,
Yeah.
people look at me and they're like, oh, you can see auras. I have abilities where I can make a person's heart go faster. I can make your feet tingle. I can do that over the phone to people who are in other countries. Who are thousands of miles away. So they say, oh, you're so different. And that's only because of that. And we can't do this. And I winded up, my mission here is to remind humanity that they have this power within them. And hey, I have that, but that's originally how everyone was. That's how they were before they fell away from that, before there was, quote, the fall that you hear about in different religions and mythology. So no, as long as you understand how your 3D divine tech works along with the cosmic soul energy coming through you, and you understand how it's this system and everyone's born out of balance, and you understand how to balance it, you will be able to do the same things that I do. And this is the ultimate plan for humanity, is for them to become multidimensional again.
Right. This is the upgrade model right here.
Yes. And just one very quick question, and then to Steve, and I might have some more later, but oh God, what was I going to ask you? It's completely slipped my mind.
One
There you
quick
go.
thing. You were just saying one quick question based on what Sarah said.
I know, I can't, I'm sorry, it's just completely gone out of my mind. Come back to me. Go to Steve.
Okay, Steve, you're up. What are you going to do for us? What are you going to show us? Or you have a question? Right, unmute yourself.
I'm unmuted. So I just want to start with the William Blake quote that popped up while you guys were talking. Energy is an eternal delight, and he who desires but acts not breeds pestilence. So I think you guys are working with energy as an eternal delight and just really trying to dwell in that. There's a term from the 1890s. I think maybe William James talked about it, who was a parapsychologist in the early part. But and the mediums would use it, spiritualist mediums, and it was called inner certainty. That's how they would describe knowing that they were on. And I think it's just a good term to remember when we talk about this, knowing when the communication is real, when we're on point. It's the inner certainty. I took a couple notes. I just want to talk about Arcturus and Arcturians for a second. There was a book, I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with it, called Voyage to Arcturus. It was written in 1920 by David Lindsay, and it describes the travels to Arcturus and other planets. So if you don't know about that, that's a good one.
I have to say, I saw Arcturus in the night sky recently, and it seemed very accessible. It's kind of a yellowish glow. It's very bright, and it's like right there. It's like, so anyway, go ahead, Steve.
The blue aura that you said you were working with, I found to be kind of interesting for a number of reasons. One, because bioenergy, Wilhelm Reich's bioenergy, which while you were speaking about Reiki and things like that, William Reich's bioenergy is known to have a blue tint to it. I also like to always mention Gerda's quote about blue, which was an eternity color, a color that you could look into and kind of peer beyond it all in blue for Gerda. and also the Yazidis, which are very interesting. The Yazidis, which was a kind of Gnostic Muslim cult, like that's a little exotic, but they believed that they abhorred blue. They didn't like blue, and they were known as devil worshippers. So you can draw the conclusion from that. I also we've been talking about utopian aspects sometimes in our past talks.
Yeah.
And you guys are the epitome of a utopian thing.
Pioneers of that, Steve. We're
Yes.
pioneers of utopia, basically.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Thank
yeah. I
you.
think that's really important. So this utopian impulse that we've talked about in the past, and it's really funny because I was
More than
talking.
an impulse. It's a utopian, it's new Earth. It's not, the impulse has already
Right.
happened like a year ago. So that it's more like it's being embedded in the energy system of Earth. Like Earth has already started her ascension. She's taking us with her. So the utopian energy, that is very beautiful word that you're using, that the energy is really creating something that no one has ever felt before.
Mm.
So you're right on the button. You're right on the money there.
I usually am. Because I have inner certainty. But besides the point, so I just want to bring up, I was talking to Masahiro today, Alan,
Yeah.
and there was a group called, and he said, Andrew Collins, who was in a group called the Shaman, very much a rave culture group from the 1990s. They would work with McKenna a lot. McKenna would speak over their raves. And the Shaman have a great song called Forever People. We are forever people. And the Shaman were very much a utopian rave kind of act, probably pre-Burning Man even, and I just bring that, and I was
recontextualize a utopia because it's always been something out there and an impossible thing, and now
it's actually real. It's actually something that we are creating. Like New Earth is a world that is based on truth and unconditional love.
So
and
I wanted to add in, everybody says New Earth, but originally before there was a fallen frequency, this was normal. It's actually something ancient re-emerging that we're labeling as new, but it's what I was told, it's the ancient blueprint of the flow of energy and the flow between all of creation that is re-emerging in to our timelines now.
And it's an embodiment. You see, these people, maybe me, are embodying it. I mean, Sedona, we're in Sedona here, has this, what does it say? Utopian embodiment. That's embodiment. So we can call it utopia, or we can call it the natural frequency of human consciousness. Yes.
Well, that's one question I wanted to ask is, as embodiment, how do you physically, do you have any like mudras? I was thinking about physical mudras, actually bodily mudras, not hand
ritual,
mudras.
right?
I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't. So every single being is different. Like what I do is not going to work for you. It's not going to work for Sarah. It's not going to work for Ra. When you tune into your own energy field. So I'm getting like intuitive hit for you, like more greens in your life. That you need to eat more greens. You need to have more alive food. So there's a blueprint for each. It's cute that word came in, but there's a blueprint for every single being that's very different to everyone else. We're all different and we're all individuals. So I mean, I can tell you, I need running in my life. I need yoga. I need to eat a certain diet. Every single being is different. And when you tune in, so a really cool exercise is to ask your guidance, like hold food or an idea or like a ball, if you want to play sport, like hold it in your hand and feel the vibration. What does it tell your body? Because we're sitting here talking about concepts, whereas we are in the physical body, and the physical form is this is a technology suit. It will tell you exactly what you need specifically, all of you. So when you could ask your body, what's the answer? You could ask your body to give you a intuitive hit on what to eat in that day. You could ask your guidance, what do I need today? You can start getting to the practice of asking yourself exactly what you need in any given moment. Maybe it's more water, maybe it's more grounding, maybe you haven't exercise for a while. Maybe you need more, fruit is the highest vibrational food on the planet. So that is like eating more fruit will absolutely help raise your vibration. And in any given moment, you will need different things. So yeah, that I absolutely have a ritual. And this is just really beautiful advice, just to tune into your own energy field. And then it will start to tell you more as you feel yourself more and tune in more. Your body will go, oh, wow, we're going to get listened to. So it will start to show up for you in a different way.
Beautiful. Thank you.
There's also,
Excellent.
let me say, there's a book that you should get that doesn't have a barcode.
It's amazing.
That book is called The Right Use of Will.
Oh, yeah.
And this is about the Earth used to be a free will planet. Now it's becoming a divine will planet. So the ritual also that you can add to your life, and that's in the Hindu scriptures, in the Bhagavad Gitas, and the Mahabharatas, if you go into the ancient scroll system, making the right and divine choice has something like self-aligning software within you that will release gifts of knowingness. So if you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, you will be gifted. If you're working against that, you create locks within you.
Yeah.
So limiting belief system will create a limited life and limited health. You are the designer ultimately of your avatar all the time with everything
avatar,
that you do.
So 2 things that I've discovered: when you're hungry, you eat. When you're tired, you sleep.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
that basic.
So Alan,
How to be human 101.
Right.
So I wanted to continue on to how to connect to the higher self. I have an easy exercise that I teach people around me to do. So one, you have to be able to speak to your spirit. That's the first level of this. So I tell people, close your eyes, clear your mind, wait a couple of seconds, then ask a question to your higher self. Ask your higher self to come in and answer this question. Then clear your mind again. And the thought that comes through will be your higher self answering that question. So you can do that with food. You can do that with different things that you want to ask your higher self. Till one day you've done this enough that your higher self kind of comes in and merges in, and it's constantly at one with your 3D physical mind. And you just know, you look at something in the grocery store and your system says, nope, that's not for you. And you follow that, and it guides you. And for me, that's the way to tap into your higher self, which is God consciousness.
And you'll feel it. You'll feel yourself getting weaker. Like I just sometimes look at a menu, project my future having it in there, and I feel how my body feels. Does it feel better, or do I feel weaker and tired from it? And then you just have to trust that. That's what I do.
well, in ritual magic, and a lot of different things like that, when you're constantly questioning. You question the entity that comes to you. You question it constantly. And that's the same with food and anything. Yeah, I'm an animist to a lot of degrees. So I talking to the food, questioning the food. Like we are. I just have to bring this up, Alan, really quick. I did a trance kind of drawing while people were speaking.
Yeah. What exactly are we looking at there, Steve? Let me just highlight you. Let me just wait. Hold that up for a second.
Okay.
Okay. What are we looking at?
Well, so I don't know if you can see it, but there's 2.
But we can't hear you.
I don't know.
Oh, now we lost him. Okay, that's okay.
That happens, overload, too much energy.
Okay.
It's a lot of it.
Okay.
I saw a toroidal field in its
Okay.
painting. I saw like a
All right,
Yes.
Henrietta, any other follow? Dave, because I have some more questions here. Dave, go ahead, David.
I thought it was interesting that when you and Sarah had talked to Marie Rodwell, you discussed the loss of energy. And Alan, you were saying that, you felt that. But so Arcturus Ra's technology would be something to kind of combat that and allow you to move through that.
Using light. Some Reiki practitioners get exhausted because you're losing photons.
Right.
And these generating systems they assist you that you're not having that loss, because we're still a dualistic planet to a degree. There's still stuff that we all don't agree.
Stuff. Yeah.
We're still working out the duality. I always say also, when somebody is in unconditional love, nothing is rejected, and you understand each other without verbal communication, complete sentences. That's 100% unconditional love one another. And also you synchronize. You will run into people more. Those who have true love amongst each other, and we all have to be, not all to be together, but it's like really, really.
We run into each other all the time.
Yeah. It synchronizes because we're in the same field. And that's when, what you said, what works for you might not work for the same person. The path is different, but the plateau for all of us is oneness.
I agree. This is
I agree. And
oneness.
even with me, people are like, oh, hey, you're so different. Please tell me my past lives. I just teach them to tap into their past lives themselves. And their journey is different than my journey. Each of our journeys is unique. When we tap into consciousness and start getting, our downloads from there, start being in the flow of it, we go down the divine plan for us, the divine path for us that we're supposed to be on. A lot of people are looking to others for knowledge and for wisdom on what path they should take when they just really need to tap into their higher selves.
So let's look for the future. And thank you. Just tap it. Hit good. Thanks.
Zoomers.
Yeah, they're in.
All Zoomers.
Thank you. So Steve, we're waiting for you, but as we kind of take this consciousness of knowing and move it out there, there's still a huge backlash from this. How do we start to, in a sense, people are not at this level. They're not
creating a bigger field, more people like us coming together, like you, like you see, like you felt your Aquarius Pisces rising, you sense the field.
Yeah.
You sense what to connect. You are, like the internet, you're like a server. Realizing that you're serving the purpose of connecting more intelligence.
I enjoy
making the field better, and you enjoy with that.
That's
and
right.
That's a good way.
Right.
So in practice, that what is really important is to with vibration is when you have a feeling of fear and doubt and anger, is to get curious of what's going on with that emotion, because those emotions are getting cleaned. In reality, eventually those emotions won't even exist. So it's about facing those emotions and like getting curious of why they're there, with no judgment, curiosity, not judgment, and asking yourself, what is this here to teach me? What is the medicine inside of whatever like lower vibrational energy is showing up? So even Henrietta, with the doubt, it's like, okay, let that doubt show you why it's there, because it has a beautiful medicine to it. And when you get curious about these emotions, what happens is that every emotion is fun. Like every emotion becomes a teacher. Every emotion is a gateway into an expansion point in your life, rather than something that you like recoil from. So that in a practical sense is like focusing on, fear is just, it's either, there's a choice at this moment in time, is like, how can you create more love and more acceptance and more truth and more trust, more of the emotions that are going to elevate your energy field. And in every moment, it's a choice. And so you can create the thoughts that are going to help usher in those more uplifting emotions into your life and allow those other ones to be a teacher.
So Steve, welcome back. Anything you were going to finish with that? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I just thought maybe I can even show it now.
Careful with the painting.
Okay. You don't want too much energy, right?
Tutorial field overload.
Right, let me just put the.
I don't know if you guys see. I'll just say that in this here and here are two different faces, heads. They're hard. They're going to be hard to see. But what I do is I don't look at the page. I have a bunch of pens. I just scribble, and I do this pretty often, like all the time. And I was actually pleasantly surprised to see the two beings almost joined in the center.
Put light on it.
Yeah, put a little light on the picture. Yeah.
As these things go, it's never easy. So don't.
What do you think? Those are beings that are coming through from this conversation?
Well, what it's speaking to me, Alan, is about the hybridization that was spoke about at the beginning. I forget your name, on the left.
Ra.
So you were speaking about hybridization.
Sarah Ra.
Right, I'm
Sarah.
bad with
Or
names.
Sarah.
Ra, you were speaking about hybridization at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And one of the questions I had, and I'll tell you, I was very surprised to see when I looked at the page after I finished drawing, when the inner certainty struck me and said, okay, this is done. I looked at the page and I saw two faces. I'll take a picture and send it to people.
Okay.
And very distinct. That's the first thing I saw. I said, oh my God, there's two faces in there. There's two heads. So that spoke to me of your hybridization. And maybe you could go into that. Is it DNA hybridization or is it some other kind of
The
hybridization?
entire race had to be hybridized in order to even tackle the energies. If you have somebody from, let's say, that was born in 1645 and without a DNA code altering and time sequence adjustment, the person would die in two days here. With all the
say
energy.
that again.
You
What?
take somebody unhybridized from the 1600s and bring them here in a day. They wouldn't make a week.
Because they're just a different frequency.
Yes, they had a different frequency. They're different frequency conduit. They couldn't take it. So the ETs and the committees and you also see the hyperdimensional committees could see that the race would go extinct if there's not an alteration within the ascension path as ascension codes by bringing ET races together to hybridize. So we are here because of that. It's a probably 300 million year old process if you check the Hindu scriptures.
So the human existence keeps accelerating,
Yes.
keeps vibrating at a
Evolution.
quicker rate.
Yeah.
All right, we have a question from the chat on YouTube. Please talk about the Saturn moon matrix. Does anyone know what that means?
So I'll take this question.
Okay.
One, Saturn projects time and reality. Saturn is a neutral planet. Saturn it's actually a divine sphere of energy. The elite know how, they know how to create the timelines on this planet and realities they want. So they do these, what you would call satanic rituals. Saturn is one of the codes for it is also Satan. And they wanted to scare people away from Saturn, because if we actually communicated with the ancient spirits, which are the planets, we could control our time and reality. So they wanted to scare humanity away. So what they did is they did the subconscious and also 3D physical programming of the Saturn, Satan. So what they do with these rituals, they do the ritual, they gather a charge of energy, they send it to Saturn, and Saturn reflects that, almost magnifies it back to Earth and creates the timelines and realities that they want. So that creates the false light system that suppresses the masses and allows the elite to hold status, power, positions,
Dominion divided.
very strong, very powerful positions.
Yeah.
So basically, there are, for me, this is what I was told by the aliens, by the ETs, and also the interdimensional spirits, is that we're in this sort of matrix system, this false light matrix system, and it's on quarantine until we step into our higher selves, into God consciousness. Then that will kind of fade away, and we won't be locked in here. We're in quarantine until we step into that, and also until we understand how the different planets work. Each planet is connected to a chakra. So Venus is connected to the heart chakra. And in ancient times, we'd have priests and priestesses. They would do these rituals. They would send specific signals to Venus, and that would reflect upon the entire planet and keep their heart chakras open. So until we understand how this works and we understand just how important our souls are and energy is, we're going to be quarantined in here. As for the moon, for me, there is the original moon, which is an ancient spirit. And there of course is the false light matrix system that's been projected upon her, just like Saturn. So I don't fall into any fear of that. I know I'm too high frequency to worry about that. I am aware that a lot of people on this planet are in that false light frequency because they haven't ascended into their higher selves.
I also want to say Saturn has that hexagon at its north pole, which is part of the grid of that 6 hexagon shape that has also limited us to just 6 levels, and we're about to go.
Saturn is also Chronos.
Right,
and that's when you were speaking about time, right? So
right.
Saturn is Chronos,
Saturn
right.
actually project the time and reality that we're living in right now. And in ancient times, they actually, they actually had control over this, the priests and priestesses, and they could project the timelines and the time that they wanted to project.
Okay.
So then also because it can sound kind of daunting that there's blockages, right? That the elites have put blocks on Earth, which are actually being broken up at the moment. Very big, like huge, like you'll see a lot of arrests happening. It's in the news. The Pentagon just released that video was real of the pyramid flying objects.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things coming out in the media about how the structure is being broken right now. There was a whistleblower came out on Friday talking about UFOs are real, to try, and what that does is it breaks down the masses psychology around the matrix. And then what everyone else can be doing on a practical level, play is one of the most important aspects that to anchor into your life, that will start to break up the energy of the matrix in your own life. So when you can bring a sense of play to all the seriousness that's going on, the chaos that's going on, like literally in any moment in your life, if you can see like lighten up the energy, and that also helps to break down because the matrix has been there for a really long time, and we all have the power. That was another thing that came through to share with everyone today, is that when we all come together in love and joy, that's why they wanted to keep everyone so segregated for so long. It's because we are all magnetic. We're all electromagnetic fields. When we come together like this, like you can feel the energy of all of us together. You can see that light is like coming out of our bodies. Like, I mean, we've got a lot of lights on us as well, but it helps. But really, like the more you can get together in groups, in joy and love and play and having fun and being lighthearted and not talking about the bullshit, the chaos that's going on in the world, like coming together in love and lightness is what is going to it's just going to help the energy to the matrix starts to break down, and obviously it just brings more love and peace and joy into your lives on a daily basis.
Right.
And that's what it's all about. It's having
So I always say,
beautiful.
like, notice BS is belief system.
That's a good one.
Just
so you know.
That's a good one.
And more, someone asked, wait one second, Steve, more and more beings are coming to the planet to help lift us up. More and more, as we
Yes.
open up the crown chakra, the corona, all that, we're accessing higher fields of energetic beings. So as we rise, we meet the risen beings that are actually lifting us more. So it's a synergistic ascension that we're part of as the whole vibratory field of the physical world starts to accelerate. It's energetic.
Yeah, like
Accelerated
it doesn't do
energetic
it by
frequency,
itself.
yes.
Like Greg Braden said, it's a participatory holographic universe. I
Yeah.
also say holodynamic. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. Work must be done always.
always.
You know, how did they say? Chop wood, carry water.
Yeah.
Enlightenment, chop wood, carry water.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I wanted to add to this, a lot of people are waiting for the ETs to come save them.
They're not saving
That's
us.
not going to happen, because if they did, humanity would just keep getting itself into trouble. They wouldn't ascend into their power and their higher selves. They are there making sure that there's not going to be another, nuclear war. They're there making sure big disasters, great disasters won't happen that will destroy the entire planet and all of creation in this 3D physical reality. But they're there waiting for us to ascend into our creator God consciousness power. And then when we do, then there's going to be that bridge, that gap's going to be bridged. And this is really important for people to understand, because they just are waiting, instead of doing the work, they're just waiting for the aliens. And I do a lot of my work myself. So when I'm healing people, when I'm going in dimensions, if there's a day where I'm like, okay, I need some time off, the ETs come in and work on my clients and help me out. But 90% of the time I am doing my own work. I am not relying on any guide. I'm not relying on the ETs or any of the interdimensional beings. And I think that's important for everybody to understand. They need to do the self-work. They need to step into that. And then, of course, we can have some help from the ETs, but it's all up to us.
And also know what you know, Henrietta, you know a lot more than your personality wants to acknowledge that it knows. So be in the knowing of knowingness.
Yes.
And
Agreed.
that's part of the ascension process. It's knowing there's an ET woman, or she had experiences with these beings, and she's going to be on next week, hopefully. Her name is Anjali. And she says, just go out and not fake it till you make it, but just know those forces are, just know it, that they're out there, greet them, and they will greet us.
Yeah.
So a really beautiful key is ask for what you want.
Yes.
Like ask for what you want, command the universe, and believe that you're receiving. That is like that's the key of the universe. That you literally, you can ask whatever you want as long as it's in alignment with like love and peace and joy. You know, like obviously you don't want someone to die. Like, you know, you want it to be uplifting to you and to those around you. And that's the energy that's the creative energy of the universe. When you ask for something, you actualize it. And when you trust and believe that you're going to receive it, you start to change your realities. So rather than believing the doubt or believing the fear or believing that more dense and lower vibrational energies, they're not actually the truth. That is a construct that has been created by the matrix to keep you at a lower vibrational frequency. As soon as you start to question everything. So there's a veil that has been lifted from humanity. A veil has been lifted from everyone, that outmoded behavioral systems and ideologies cannot exist in your lives anymore. Like literally things that you used to be able to do that would maybe get you by in life, they don't work anymore. And the getting by, life's not about getting by. It's about living the most joyful, most ecstatic existence that you can live. And so it's like facing what's going on. It's like embracing the pain. I know that sounds hard. I mean, I've had my own journey of embracing pain. I still do. Sometimes on a daily basis, shit comes up that I have to face, but it's like, okay, getting curious and bringing love to that conflict is key.
And I think frequency is on our side now. As Ra was saying, someone from 100 years ago wouldn't be able to be in this new vibration of humanity. So there's like a snowball effect as the frequency starts to elevate. And this is what we're in. And it's really accelerated here in Sedona.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Sedona is like the hot spot. I mean, the
It.
Dalai Lama said it's like it's the spot.
he did?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And it's
He's not
also,
so
this
bad,
place
huh?
has the highest magnetic anomalies in the world. So there must be something to it.
Magnetic anomalies.
Magnetic anomalies.
Well, that's what makes the rocks red. There's
Yeah,
the iron
it's
in
the
that.
iron and the crystal, and it's like a super orgone generator that we're sitting on.
So
But it's not just orgone, it's also magnetic, it's ionic, and it's photonic.
There's
one thing. Oh, sorry.
Go
Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. There's one thing also that is coming through really strongly to share about our current life situation, the whole situation that happened, is that remembering that every single thing, no matter how you perceive it, no matter what it feels like, is in service to you. Literally everything, no matter how painful, this entire event, I like to call it the great pause and the great awakening, right? And the great shift. It's like reframing every single thing in your life being in service to you is a game changer. And it is. No matter how the human mind, no matter how the ego mind is, because it will lie to you all the time. The ego mind is a big fat liar. It will try to lie to you all the time about how you're feeling, what's really going on. And it's like, when you can learn to feel, like, to understand that even the ego is in service to you, even all of the pain, all of the hardships and the crap, the chaos, it's in service to you and to the world.
So
That's a good point, because we are all here as kind of products of creation. So let's take it in and love it if we can.
yeah, thriving, not surviving.
Yes.
That's why we're here to thrive, and energy actually permeates that and brings us into that place. Also, I've seen as the ego is in service. Everything is in service to you. Everything around you is the blueprint of your subconscious. You have created this. Anything that you're engaging in, you have created it. You can also uncreate it. But I also see by growing up in life is say what you do what you say. that is in alignment with where you are. As they say, put your money where your mouth is. If you say you're
They
going to do something, you do it.
They say that on
Yeah.
Arcturus, right?
They say that
No
over
money
here. They
there.
say that over
Okay.
here. So basically, it's like be sure about what you have the capacity to face.
Mhm.
And when you say, "Oh, I'm going to take that roller coaster, not a problem," well, then take it. You know, every wish, everything you ask for has a consequence.
Yes.
Either
So
good or bad. Yeah.
you can overwhelm yourself. Also, you say, "I want a $60 million." All of a sudden, everything is talking to you, everything is coming, and you're going like, "I'm overwhelmed." Be careful what you wish for.
Trust my
Buffer
gut.
it, do it in steps, and be authentic to yourself as you acquire
Mm.
those magnetic things you want to attract in your life.
Right. So we'll just take a few more questions because it's, anyway, any comments? David, you always have something. Wait, Steve, Henrietta, go ahead, Henrietta. You had a question and then Dave.
Just a quick one. Like,
Sure.
what was occurring to me as you were all, you know, you've been really open and sharing, which is lovely. And I love your emphasis on joy and play, because that's, you know, where it's at for all of us. But I'm really curious, because a lot of what you're saying is, you know, obviously a lot of what psychology talks about and other spiritual systems, you know, but you're obviously using your own frames of reference and your own experience. But so it made me think, like, here's the question, are you in a lot of contact with these allies, you know, these ETs, with other intelligences? Like, this isn't really you saying this, if you like, it's not things you've thought about, these are messages you've got.
Yeah.
I mean, is that for all of you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
The thought just came to me, is like, we are actually in a science fiction movie talking to another planet. We're here on this planet and you're on some
That's
other.
exactly what it's like. No, yeah, that's I mean, I'm just really curious, because I have my own, I've had my own experiences that are similar to yours, but
Conduits, channels, and mediums.
Mhm.
It's not like you're not saying it. The ETs and spirits want us to take responsibility, what comes out of us.
Yes, totally, I get that.
Responsible for what's coming through the gate. We are gatekeepers.
Mhm.
So it is partially us and partially not. Like, if we're in agreement with the informational flow, we let it go, using discernment. But it's not like I have nothing to do with this. All of a sudden I'm Einstein, you knew anything. That's a lie. It's 50-50 for all of us. You're a conduit. Whatever you don't say is never said. Whatever you say has been spoken.
So as a channel, the word I. So you might notice that I will refer to something, what's coming through. So I'm getting intuitive hits of what's really essential to share. And so the information, so I channel the ascended masters, the energy from extra dimensional beings. I like to call them the star beings. They're my star family. So they are so in service to humanity. They love humans so much that we are their family. So they just want to send so much love and so much support. They're always here in service to your growth and living a beautiful life and living a peaceful life and a happy life. They're always in support of that. So, and all the ascended masters, including Jesus Christ, I channel Christ and Mother Mary and all sorts of other like enlightened beings, because they all just want to assist in this process, assist in the ascension process. So yes, absolutely. And I mean, I've managed to not say the F word today, but I say the F word a lot.
And what does that do for you?
Well, that's me. So my human signature, I'm just illustrating that I am a human. I'm in human form. So yes, I'm a channel, a medium, and psychic. And when that information comes through, if I get super excited, like that, I'm doing it because
I can't say it. It lowers my vibration.
Not everyone. Well, Jesus knows that, like, he wants to relate to the people who say fuck, like he wants to be relatable to everyone, not just these super spiritual beings that no one can like, even like people, that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to speak their messages through there's an energy signature that is Sarah, and that when it comes through, there's no ego involved. Like what I'm saying, I don't think about it and go, oh, maybe I won't say that because maybe they're not ready to hear it. The channel is an open channel, and the energy that comes through, is to your point, Henrietta, absolutely, it's pure spirit. It's absolutely them speaking through to be in service to your journeys.
Thanks. Dave or Steve, any comments here?
Thank you.
You want to go, Dave?
Pleasure, Henrietta.
I think Dave. I just want to go back to at the beginning when Henrietta was speaking. There's it's kind of interesting for us because I think me, Dave, Henrietta are sort of a little jaded, and there's this innocence that you guys.
That's the jaded planet right there.
That's very Sedona maybe, but it's good. But it's this innocence that's really interesting. I think and how do we, how
you get unjaded, you're saying?
Well, as a Richard Thompson song, it goes, how will I ever be simple again? How will I ever be simple again?
Yeah.
Okay, so this goes back, and I work on codes and symbolism, because I've worked with Gaia TV on a lot of this stuff. This goes back to when Christ said one must, to be reborn again, to be born again, one must die first. And this goes back to where I was talking about how we must go in and delete that the dense energies out of our cells, out of our organs, out of our chakra system, because every time you've had trauma in this lifetime, in past lifetime, even ancestral trauma, it stays within your system, and it will cause you to be angry. It will cause you to be jaded. It will cause you to be sad, depressed. Once you clear that out, you bring in this new cosmic energy that's sparkling, that's clean, that's clear. And then, you will be like this. I wake up every morning happy. I wake up, I walk out, I'm like, I love everyone. I love the world. I'm happy. And I had a really abusive childhood. I had, when I first started this years ago, people were very mean to me. They thought I was weird and strange. And I did that. I was always going in. If something hurt me, I'd clear that energy, bring in the higher energy. So it didn't matter if the whole world didn't like me. I was happy because I was in that God consciousness, higher energy, which makes me happy and blissful. So I think that's where we need to start, is to understand that if you're jaded, if you're angry, if you're sad or depressed, we need to fix it on an energetic level and delete that out of the system.
Right.
Oh, Wilhelm Reich, I'm just going to say really quick, Alan. Wilhelm Reich spoke about emotional armoring, which was like accretions around the chakra. Also, just a lot of what you're saying resonates with Scientology and clearing. I find that,
no matter where it resonates, there is emotional armor, as Sarah here was saying, and we need to look at it as a gift to tell us something. And it's not easy to do that when that stuff comes up. But I think that's the process of ascension and clearing the human dimension, so the higher frequencies of these other planes can take resonance in our cellular structure, as opposed to the human drama, which has been running us.
That's your greatest teacher. Your greatest teacher. If humanity didn't have problems, there would be nothing to learn from.
Really?
It'd be boring.
Actually, it reminds me of a cab driver. I was in New York City, and a cab driver, I asked this cab driver how you're doing, and he goes, I have a lot of problems. I said, well, do you have to have problems? He goes, the day I don't have problems is the day I wake up dead.
But that's
what
a
he
belief
said.
system. Again.
It's a total belief
He
system.
will die just
You
like
don't
that.
have to have problems. We are going to another plane of level where it is utopian, Steve. Get used to it, okay?
But also, like Henrietta said, be a healthy skeptic. I'm a skeptic too. If somebody says I can remote view, I can project myself into your room, then I say, well, I have 4 digits written on a piece of paper and a letter, and I want to hear the digits, because the shaman will test the apprentice with symbolism that will be in the other forest. If you can actually project and tell me what's there, then I want to hear it. Otherwise, it's crap.
Right.
That's how I go. And I have plenty of paranormal experience. But if you can't move a pencil, don't claim you move pencils.
Right. So this is practical ET information that is really making us more human. Speaking of which, my book, Making Contact.
Where's the book?
Making Contact talks a lot about all this. Oh, thanks, Dave. Yes.
Nice.
So I bring this book from the jaded to the enlightened.
And be a little
Well,
bit.
you know,
So be
I
nice.
just want to say, I'm not jaded.
I
I'm
know
just
you're
like,
not,
it's
Henrietta.
the I just love that you're a very different sort of person to the, a very different kind of way of communicating. It's very interesting, and you're fresh and young. I feel like different to that, but not jaded.
Have that. I know you, Henrietta.
You know.
You have that. You do have that freshness. In that
Yeah, but
way.
these guys really do.
They've been practicing it. I'm somewhere in
So
between.
Henrietta, one of the things that is one of the things that can help you go deeper into your experience is, I don't know if you meditate, you probably do, but meditation is one of the most, what meditation can, like, I'm 45. I haven't had a new wrinkle in 10 years. And believe me, I have been looking. I've been making sure. But meditation, what it does is it relaxes your inside so that you deal with everything in a different way. Like meditation, yoga, breathing practices, walks in nature, communing with nature, walking bare feet on the earth. All of these things help connect you internally to your own divine essence in a really natural way. So, I mean, I wake up at 5 a.m. or sometimes 6 a.m. and do 3 hours of things in the morning. I meditate twice. I do yoga. I go for runs. Like, these things don't just happen. I have been practicing some kind of spirituality for since I was 13 years old. I don't even want to say the years. It's way too many. But, there's been a spiritual practice in my life forever. And so these things don't just occur. It takes practice and dedication and real heart connection to the journey. And it's just a journey. There's no destination. It's just a journey. It's really like, I'm no different to you at a soul essence level. We're unified. You're just a different expression of God. We're all just, we're all an expression of God. We're actually unified in the energy field.
Yeah.
We're like God talking to itself.
Yeah, God talking to God.
We're talking to ourselves.
And it doesn't matter, like for me, non-awakened humanity feels very alien to me. Whereas they look at me and I'm very alien to them. That doesn't matter though, because essentially we're all God. And it doesn't matter how advanced you are, you're connected to those who haven't awakened yet. And for me, it's my mission, to help them awaken.
So how about you, David? Any final words you would like to comment on there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is a good right after International Making Contact Day, which obviously you all were a part of. I think this is a good, because this, for as alluded,
Can you say
I'm breaking.
Yeah, it's just breaking up a bit. Too much energy.
We've I've explored quite a bit of the topic over my lifetime. So I think Alan's book has been a very interesting kind of gateway into the next phase of where we're seeing everything, as we talk about all these kind of like past traditions and that, it really seems like everything is now being kind of pushed through this new sort of story,
Like, this is
And
what
I think
makes
that this
contact
was-
look like. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that this is a good.
Like Bashar said, I believe that too. In this journey, you're ultimately here to surrender who you truly are with everything that makes you. And you're becoming that. That's all there is. That's all there is.
And Igor in the chat, Henrietta, says you're a great soul, and I agree. You are a great soul, and
I wanted to say,
Yes.
you know, to charge yourself. The reason people are sick and the reason they're ill, depressed, they don't have enough electromagnetic charge within their body. And God is a charge of energy, an electricity that runs through everything. So what I like to do once I have deleted all of the dense energies out of my system, I literally look to the sun, the moon, the stars, even the ocean, and I will ask them to channel electromagnetic energy into me. And these ancient spirits do so. And then that starts to regenerate me. That helps bring me into higher consciousness. We have a lot of help with this. We have a lot of aid with this, but it's not going to come to us until we actually reach out and ask for that. So I ask the spirits to charge me, and that happens in the cosmos to charge me also, and it happens.
Oh, and one more thing along those lines. I was talking to an Arcturian channel. He says, when you eat your food, picture as if you're eating light. I mean,
Yes.
you're eating food, but you're also taking this light in, and it'll start to grow your light body. So that's the key here. Steve, you always have something to say. Anything? No.
Yeah, no, I just I am interested in this kind of idea that, is there, like Dave was saying, Henry, is there a new development really happening? Are we possibly deluding ourselves? We always have to question, are we deluding ourselves?
Steve, what are we talking about for the last 2 hours?
I know.
It's
But Alan, we gotta ask these questions.
So Steve, can
Yeah, go ahead.
it's like, do you know what it was like last year? Like before everything shut down, everything was in a trajectory that was going 1,000,000 miles an hour. No one knew why. No one really, everyone had lost their way. So I'm a member of the Galactic Federation of Light. I'm an earthbound ambassador for the Galactic Federation of Light. I'm here as I'm absolutely an ambassador for everyone's awakening. That is my highest mission on earth, is for every single being who desires awakening to become awakened. So we had meetings of how we could affect society in a way that wasn't war, because that's way too traumatic.
Mhm.
We decided that a pause for everyone globally would be the least amount of trauma for humanity. It would be peaceful. Families could get to reconnect. People could restructure their lives and start working from home. There'll be less travel. There's less headache. There's less driving. There's less pollution. This was all planned by us. It was not planned by the government. It was planned by beings of light who have humanity's best interests, their highest vibrational interests at heart. The life before, that's the lie. This new life is where more light. Actually, scientists are even measuring right now, there is more light photons being transmitted into Earth's atmosphere now than has ever come in. Google that. That I know for a fact that they're testing this. So there is more light coming in. It is an actual fact. Look at the news, look what's coming out. The Pentagon is confirming UFOs exist. Whistleblowers are coming out. There's things that are absolute physical proof that shit is not the same as it was. Shit is getting real. It's getting cleaned up, and we're getting more light. There's more galactic help happening for Earth. Actually, all of the beings of the light who have an interest in Earth, they're focusing on Earth currently.
So let's dispel the doubt, the fear, is it or isn't it? Just like make it until you make it, Steve.
Believe. That is the key. You have to ask, believe, and receive.
And then you know it. Then you can't doubt what you know. We've been so much trained to doubt our own minds. This is the problem with Western psychology. It's helped us, but it's also put a cap on what it's possible to know. So we are entering a new phase, a new paradigm, a new way of being that will be different than what it was.
Yeah,
Steve, that's an awesome question. Thank you for asking it. Really,
evolution
really
always is. It's a choice. You have to see how are we ascending? Are we making it? Look at the positive signs. We are ascending. We're in the middle of it. And I give you an example from way back in the past, and you might laugh. color TVs being released in stereo. And little old grandpa sits in his basement. Color is nothing but the devil, and I'll stick with my mono radio because everything else is the devil. So everything is development. Oh, the internet. I'm not on the internet. Everything is the devil. But oh, you don't have a website. You don't make money. You're not in commerce. You're suffering because you're choosing the old paradigm.
But you know,
and that we can't teach.
We're not just talking to you. I feel I'm also talking to the part of me that is also has that little space. Is it really, are there really UFOs? Are there really ETs? And you know, I saw about 20 of them last night.
Yeah, we saw many last night.
With the night vision goggles. They are there. It's like you see them traveling together and merging and stopping. They are out. All you have to do is look. That's the key.
Go to Mount Shasta, ask for it. If they're in front of you, it's almost like shit. Wow. And people run.
Even
but this is a reality. They can come in physical form. I had a dude coming through a portal in my wall, and I was like, "This is it. My mind is going fritz. This is it. I'm losing."
So
my
we
shit.
all have that little piece.
But it happened.
All
I
trying
experienced.
to. We're trying to. I don't want to talk for everybody, but yeah, there's still that little piece. Like I wrote that book, wherever that is. But and you know, there's this little. And how could the world be so different than what we were told? Well, it is. That's just it. So there are new realities coming.
That's the best thing.
Yes, of course. So
I mean, technology is showing us that, like, if you want to play, get an app that's called Randonaut. Ask a question, and it'll send you to a space, and the probability through LiDAR and a number generator by random will make a very high probability that whatever you're asking for, you might encounter going to the destination this app is sending you. It's like insane. And I've tested it. That shit really works.
do you have anything?
So Ra, can I ask you, Ra, have you've used Randonaut?
I've used it, and it's telling me. I asked for an anomaly in Sedona, and it showed me a place that's like 11 minutes from my house, and I haven't driven there yet. So I want to figure out what happens.
Well,
so my friend Rachel she tried it, and literally a ship came and flew into the ground to the assigned spot that the app pointed out.
What is it?
Randonaut.
Well, it shows you anomalies. It uses random number generators that are sensitive to you. And it'll say, let's say you have it at where you are staying, and you say, show me a place where there's an anomaly happening or synchronicity. It'll show you an address somewhere, and it says, okay.
Hyperdimensional geocaching.
Yeah, but it's very interesting.
How
But
does
then you
it
go
know
to
it's
that.
anomalies there, though. Someone must have reported
it there's a field, and the app shows you. It shows you the morphogenetic field. This app can read it.
Really?
It's really cool.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Alan, real quickly.
Look at those things.
But Sarah here has a question. Go ahead.
What did you say, David?
I was just going to say real quickly, Alan, I know the developers, so I can give you more information on it.
Send it to me, please, David. Thank you very much.
Very interesting.
I want to do a show. Let's do a show with the developers, okay?
Okay, yeah, I can get them. Yeah, I can get.
Definitely. That would be really
I want to
exciting.
do a video with testing it, saying now I'm punching this in, now we're going. Let's see what happens.
What did you have?
Oh, no, I just wanted to thank everyone for all your questions. Steve, that was an amazing question. Henrietta, for your input, and David, and everyone on YouTube.
Yes.
All of your input and your support and kindness. Thank you, everyone, for the love and light that you sent us. I definitely felt it. I'm very grateful for your presence here today.
Also, share your
dog.
Also, my website is Sarah, SARAH, Strong, STRONG.com. I'm also Sarah Strong on Facebook and Sarah_the_strong on Instagram.
And then our Sarah here?
Yeah.
What's your business?
So I teach multidimensionality, teach people to connect to their higher selves, to the ETs, to astral project, a lot of different things like that. And my website is www.sarahradams.com, and that's Sarah with an H.
And
so my website is, I'm into biophotonics, biophotonic modulation, holodynamic principles of energizing the body and the avatar. And my website is www.ra-key.com. And there's my store and science. And the write-ups, I also have scientific proof of my stuff. I have that stuff tested from Germany to China. that this really does what it does. And that's why you find me. And on YouTube,
Yeah.
I'm Arcturus Ra on YouTube.
Great stuff that Ra's developing here in Sedona. I'm Alan Steinfeld. Thank you for watching New Realities.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank
Nice
you.
to meet you.
Thank you, everyone on the chat there, and subscribe to New Realities. And we do this every Wednesday, the ET Roundtable. So just check back in. And
everyone.
I know we're kind of ending on a high note, but I just wanted to read this last line
Yeah.
of the book that I quote Albert Einstein, who puts the whole thing in perspective. And everything we've said here, everything everyone on both sides of the aisles have talked about. So Einstein said, "Still, there are moments when one feels free from one's own identification with human limitations and inadequacies. At such moments, one imagines that one stands on some small spot of a small planet, gazing in amazement at the cold yet profoundly moving beauty of the eternal, the unfathomable. Life and death flow into one, and there is neither evolution nor destiny, only
Only
being."
Wow.
Yes.
That's our,
Thanks, everyone.
that is who we are. Thank
I
you.
love it. I love
Thank
it.
you. By making contact, get making contact, start making contact.
Yes.
And I'll talk to you, Henrietta. I'll talk to you soon. Bye,
Yes.
everyone. Thanks.